Thank you, Speaker. I rise to put on the record in relation and on behalf of the people of Newtown who have contacted me consistently over many, many years about the ongoing injustice occurring in Palestine and the escalating situation in Lebanon. Details of a meeting that we had this week with one of the members of the Independent International Commission of Inquiry on the Occupied Palestinian Territory, including East Jerusalem and Israel, Chris Sidoti. I particularly want to put on the record significant United Nations and human rights findings in relation to this, which I think will have particular relevance to members in this place, and something that the good people in the electorate of Newtown have long raised as concerns with us about the fact that we don't see international human rights law protected in our own state laws, but indeed respect for human rights and humanitarian laws and international conventions play out in the way that our governments respond to such global crises. Particularly, I want to highlight the fact that the Independent International Commission of Inquiry on the Occupied Palestinian Territories, including East Jerusalem and Israel, have a large mandate, but one of those mandates is to make recommendations on measures to be taken by third states to ensure respect for international humanitarian law in the occupied Palestinian territory, including East Jerusalem, in accordance with Article 1, common to the Geneva Conventions, and in fulfilment of their obligations under Articles 146, 147 and 148 of the Fourth Geneva Convention, including by ensuring that they do not aid or assist in the commission of internationally wrongful acts. And I think that aid and assist is something that we are going to need to come back to in a number of ways as we see the ongoing violation of human rights occurring inside of the occupied Palestinian territories and indeed East Jerusalem. One of the things that we know is that the community has been strong in their outrage on the streets and in public forums. We know that the Foreign Minister just this week walked off the stage a total of 10 times while addressing the University of Tasmania at an event announcing a humanitarian launch, where we saw pro-Palestinian activists continue to shout out and ask the Foreign Minister to listen. And in that context, I want to say that while I appreciate the Foreign Minister might not have appreciated being heckled, I know a lot of people have tried, including in my own electorate of Newtown, where half of the electorate is represented by the Prime Minister in the federal seat of Grainler, have tried to be able to make contact with federal MPs, with their local federal representatives, and been unable to do so because they've been blocked from communicating with them or calling them, or in some cases even the police have been called to intervene to stop them going to their local federal member's office. Now, if we're talking about social cohesion, and we believe that that is such a critical element, we need to realise that if we don't want to see the conflict come here, we need to stand up against the conflict and not be complicit in it. And we know full well that there has been ongoing concerns about the fact that not only have we seen the Albanese government approving military export permits to Israel over the past year and beyond, as exposed by my federal Greens colleagues, but that there are ongoing concerns about the role that the New South Wales Police are playing, and that this state government is using the New South Wales Police to over-police what are peaceful protests on the street. And when I march, as I do on a number of weekends over the last year, with community members, now from those that are impacted by the ongoing escalation of the crisis and disaster situation in Lebanon unfolding, but also in relation to what has been happening in the genocide in Gaza, what we see is a situation where there are traumatised families and individuals marching the streets of Sydney. And instead of resourcing the 20 or 30 police officers to block off each road in the CBD each weekend, can you imagine instead of allocating those social service resources to instead frontline mental health support workers, to community outreach workers, and to other state government agencies, instead of using public money to over-police those protests, what that would do for the Lebanese, for the Palestinian, and for indeed all Middle East communities that are here in New South Wales. I want to highlight the fact that both the United Nations Office of the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, as well as UNICEF and the World Food Programme, are warning us of the ongoing devastation in Lebanon, and say that there is so much more that we need to do to ensure that we are standing up against the ongoing genocide and for justice for Palestinians and Lebanese people.
Member for Willoughby.